Namaskar. I am here, for the next few minutes to share the story of millions of people who very silently in the last 25 years are just writing a story of a new economy. Something where they are challenging the very basic concept of charity and valuing the dignity of people. The pictures you see here are the pictures of those hundreds and thousands of people, of course from the cities also, but from far away villages of India. A group of people, 160 boats, 300 people, clean up 1 lakh square meter of Dal Lake, not under any government scheme, not for wages, but to pay back with their labor, with their wisdom, for something which they received when the flood happened. Because they didn't want to accept charity. Because people understand that charity kills dignity of people. And dignity is not something which someone can give to someone. Dignity is something with which each one of us is born. Whatever caste, community, religion, geography we are born, we can only do two things. Either we can respect dignity or we can challenge dignity. And these are the people who respect dignity of us, who respect dignity of themselves. A bamboo wall for a school. Again, no government scheme, but paying back to the community, to the people. Local wisdom, local resources. No engineers from IIT, no engineers from the cities. It's absolute grassroots wisdom to make a bund, to make a dam. Reviving the traditional water bodies. Because they understand that even if we want water in our hand pumps, we have no option but to revive our ponds, because that's where the water goes. And these are local models, whether you call it Chua, you call it Kua, and these are the stories of Pan-India. Above in mountains of Munsiari in Pithoragarh, these are the women who are building a wall. Why? Because the horse from the army come in that area and take away the grass. And their life depends on that grass. Here are the people who are actually finding water in the stones, because they understand that that water is important, and they have that wisdom, they have that labor. Because they are proving that this country, farmers have come out with 8,000, 10,000 different variety of rice, but unfortunately, we still call them unskilled. We survived in COVID because of them. They are writing their own stories. In a new economic model, where on one side, it is the wisdom of the grassroots, it is the labor of the grassroots. On the other side, it is the material of all of us. Because we imagine that the way we talk about the living being, and we feel bad if we do not complete our life cycle, this is the same story with everything which is here, which does not live but has a life, which still has a utility. This kurta might not be important for me, but it still has a life. Before it goes in landfill, it can actually cover up a lot of stuff. It can make all these roads, all these wells, whatever you saw. This is where all of us in the cities are becoming a part of this huge journey of writing a new economy, of reviving the barter economy, which on both sides, one side it is the wisdom of the local grassroots people and the hard work of people. On the other side, it is the underutilized material what we all have and we keep in our wardrobes. I'm not speaking because I want you to experience a story which started way back in 1991 in my mass communication days, meeting this family of Habib Bhai, who used to pick up unclaimed, abandoned dead bodies for the local police. And as a budding journalist, I used to roam around on the roads in search of a story, and then meeting this family and listening to the story, which was the reality, and which is still the reality of millions and millions of people across the globe, that this person was paid 20 rupees and 2 meters of white cloth per dead body of someone who was homeless. Exactly the same people whom all of us saw in 2020 walking on the roads. Exactly the same people because of whom we all are sitting here. Exactly the same people who grow food for us, who lay internet lines for us, who make our houses. And if they die, Habib Bhai is called and paid 20 rupees and 2 meters of white cloth to do that seva, to do that work. I remember talking to the family and Habib Bhai telling me that in winters his work goes up and many times he has so much of work that he cannot handle it. And then I realized that every 24 hours, in the range of 4 or 5 kilometers, he used to pick up 10 to 12 dead bodies, and in summers it used to be 4 to 5. Believe me, the reason for death is not a piece of cloth only. That's what I used to think. But then I realized that it's all about clothing. Because if the cold kills people, even I would have died. I survived, someone else died. It's not the temperature, but it's lack of clothing. His little daughter gave the most shocking statement when she said in Hindi कि जब मुझे ठंड लगती है तो मैं लाश के साथ चिपक कर सो जाती हूँ. When I feel cold, I hug the dead body and sleep. It does not trouble me. It does not turn around. The concept, which started on a very simple, basic piece of cloth, now is writing a new economic story. Because if we spend 50 crore, it's just a small figure. We just for the sake of calculation, I'm talking about it. We add the resources in terms of material, which is another 50 crore, and when we add the wisdom, the hard work of people of this country, of this world, that's another 50 crore. Imagine a new economy where you spend 50 crore, but your working capital is 150 crore because you are valuing every single thing as a contributor, as a stakeholder, as a participant. And the fact remains that a simple piece of cloth can actually solve a huge amount of health issues in the shape of this small sanitary towel. What we realize that when you have lack of clothing, you also do not know what to be used during your menstruation. My personal journey of meeting a lady who actually shared that how one of her sister used a piece of blouse which had a hook and she died of tetanus. And then realizing that millions and millions of women across the globe are actually using sand, ash, jute gunny bags, rugs, rags, newspaper grass, cow dung, anything and everything which can stop, which can absorb. And this is where we thought that there is a solution which does not need big machines, which does not need big factories. The women of this country can create this, can find their own solutions. The same piece of cloth can actually become a big tool for the education. And the same piece of cloth also fix my identity. So when you meet this person, you find him poor, you will call him unskilled, you will not call him for the meetings, and if he comes for the meetings, he will not get a chance to speak. And the same piece of cloth, you start calling him uncle, you start valuing his wisdom, but the same piece of cloth actually breaks a huge amount of arrogance in us. Because the fact remains that in that 2 minutes, nothing changed in that person. If this person had a skill, this person has a skill. If that person was so-called poor, this person is so-called poor. So a small piece of cloth has also challenged our thought process, our lenses, that there is something wrong here, not with that person. In the last 2 decades, we are just trying to write this story where everyone becomes a stakeholder, where we do not treat people as donor or beneficiary, where we value people for what they are, where we value a new economy, where everyone becomes a stakeholder. And that is where the new language, we say no, not just recycle, gunge it, because that's the new way of doing something differently. And it's important, before I leave, two mantras which drive us today. A, my personal realization that this is my second birth. To be honest, every single person who is sitting here, every single person who has food in the plate for the dinner, a place to go, a school, college, institution in the morning, every single person in the last 3 years who went to the hospital and came back, every single person who didn't go to the hospital, do consider it a second birth. And if we are here in this second birth, there is a purpose. And the second most important part, when I talk about this Gunjit, when I was leaving my job way back in 1998, there was a very simple calculation I did. I said, I'm a product of IMC, Indian Institute of Mass Communication, and we just paid a few thousand rupees as fees. Very basic question to myself, that if that fees was 30,000-40,000 rupees, was it possible for my middle class, beautiful parents to pay? And the answer was tough. Maybe no. That was the day when I realized that I am the biggest product of subsidy of this country. That was the day I realized that every single person who has ever gone to a government school, college, IIT, IIM has eaten up subsidy of this country. And in 2022, everyone realized this subsidy comes from those farmers. This subsidy comes from those laborers who were walking on the road and whom you saw in first few pictures as very proud citizens of this country. Since morning, we have been hearing some beautiful stories of doers. Ignite, good. Inspiration, good. Action, most important. Because we got a second birth, because we have taken up subsidy and we have to pay back, I just ask all of you to now get into action. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.